I finally went out and watched Solo.
Did you now?
I've heard some scathing reviews of that thing, but I have to say, this might not be a popular opinion among our viewers, of the 4 new Star Wars movies, it's my favorite.
I haven't seen it yet.
These are the 3 basic emotions that you feel while watching a Star Wars movie. Ah. Huh. And ugh. This movie of the Disney Star Wars movies had the least ugh. But it definitely had some ugh.
Yeah?
I'm looking at you, wisecracking robot.
So he had a really good wisecracking robot.
In Rogue One.
You know why the wisecracking robot worked? Because it hadn't been done before. You know, the only other wisecracking robot is R2, and you can't understand what he's saying. I've had this idea for years. A robot in our world that gets all of its knowledge from the internet, and so it is constantly doing things either perfect or completely wrong.
And then I read these reviews by these bloggers and these curators of high Star Wars dudgeon, and they're just so ridiculous. People say things like, this should have never been made. If you don't like Star Wars, then don't watch it. I didn't like the first prequel. I didn't go see the Part 2 and Part 3. I have actually never seen the third prequel movie in its entirety. I've heard it's the best of the 3, so I should watch it.
Well, it's the best of those 3.
I know.
It's like saying Larry was the most intelligent stooge. It's...
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. What do we celebrate here in the basement in July?
Bastille Day and sci-fi.
That's right, we'll be watching sci-fi movies all month. There's been only once before on this show when we watched a 3D movie, Dial M for Murder. Tonight, we're watching an 8D movie.
What?
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension.
You have not seen this. Whee!
Released in 1984, TAOBBATED, which incidentally spells Dow-baited, stars Peter Weller, Ellen Barkin, John Lithgow, Jeff Goldblum, and Basement alums Christopher Lloyd and Clancy Brown. It was written and directed by W.D. Richter, who also co-wrote Big Trouble in Little China. Indeed! This movie also features Mike Ehrmantraut himself, Jonathan Banks, in a small role. Let's see if we can spot him.
You will spot him. He looks just the same, except with hair on the side of his head. Still has that I'm not impressed look on my face. This is the best you can do.
This film flopped at the box office, but the Miami Herald had this praise for it. Though Buckaroo Banzai is basically a comic strip, it's also relentlessly hip. Hipper even than it is goofy.
The word hip arrives every 10 or 15 years, and it means something completely different every single time.
The Adventures of BB Across the ED was also made into a video game, which is currently available for such game-playing systems as the Apple II, Commodore 64, and something called the ZX Spectrum, which is so old and obscure that even I don't know what it is. Recently, one of our viewers sent us a collection of sci-fi reviews.
Yeah, it's right down here.
Variety's Complete Sci-Fi Reviews. Let's see if it's in here. It is. Quirky comic adventure demands patience.
You know what the working title of this movie was? Get the jet car, said the president.
Besides that video game, this movie did fail to live up to its merchandising potential.
Just like me.
There are no Buckaroo Banzai lunchboxes, bobbleheads, or Happy Meal toys. But there's another sci-fi franchise which has merch aplenty.
Oh,
Darth Tater!
Mr. Potato Head, but in Darth Vader form.
I trust that when you're done playing with that, you will give it to your son.
I will never be done playing with it, and he's going to have to bury me with it.
Wherever you go, you'll find that there you are. And we hope that where you are is on the old leather couch with us, watching The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension.
Wow.
Nothing but
Banzai!
In the desert, a group of scientists are getting ready to test the new rocket car. But where is its driver and inventor, Buckaroo Banzai?
He's also a brain surgeon.
An inventor, an adventurer, and a rock and roller. Buckaroo steps on the scene.
Somewhere between The Right Stuff and Megaforce lies this movie.
He gets into the car, puts the little device that makes the car special.
The overthruster.
Hey,
there
this
is a
is-
flux capacitor.
This is pre-flux capacitor. He's trying to break the dimensional barrier. This is looking a hell of a lot like Back to the Future. Christopher Lloyd is also in this movie. I think he was a spy for Robert Zemeckis.
400 and a silver.
Totally radical.
Just be cool.
Who is that?
I don't know. He wants to be Billy Zane, though. Nobody should want to be Billy Zane.
You leave Billy Zane alone.
What's he ever done for me?
Right before he hits the mountain, the car disappears.
Buckaroo Banzai just entered the 8th dimension. At a mental institution, someplace else.
Oh boy.
You have no idea.
Scenery, prepare to be chewed.
Dr. Emilio Lizardo has heard all about Buckaroo Banzai and the little thing that he did.
He takes this thing out, and he does this thing.
Can you imagine what it must have been like?
Back in 1938, Lizardo was a well-respected and seemingly very nice scientist man. Him and Dr. Hikita did the exact same experiment.
Electromagnets, they're charging!
Buona fortuna!
I'm gonna go find the Pope. Why do I do this to my own people? Dr. Lizardo shot himself into a wall, but got stuck. And when he came out, he wasn't just Dr. Lizardo.
Medial?
Kill the radio star? He was also John Worfen. More on him later.
He saw, asked where he went.
You know, I keep a journal myself to remember the past.
Yeah.
Now Lizardo's crazy in the coconut.
The hospital orderly shows up. We know who that guy is.
Tomorrow, I'm going home.
And then I'm gonna win. That night, Buckaroo's band, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, are playing a gig. They are rocking the house.
This movie is more hip than goofy. Really?
Buck stops the show because there's a young lady who's crying. Her name is Penny Pretty, and she's having a bad day.
No matter where you go, there you are.
Buckaroo sits down at the piano and he sings her a tender love song.
I don't have Sandusky's.
He should change his name to Buckzai Bonnaroo, and then he can play Bonnaroo.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't cheer her up much. And she's arrested.
Where do you think you're going, Dr. Moon?
I'm going to Albuquerque to make crystal meth.
He's calling a guy named John Big Booty.
This better be collect, Doc.
Yeah.
I want to see you because you have junk in the trunk. He is leaving the insane asylum. We meet Buck's bandmates. Reno, Perfect Timing,
Rawhide?
and Dr. Sidney Zweibel, a fellow neurosurgeon who really wants to join the band. Buckaroo goes and sees Penny in jail. Buckaroo used to be married to a woman that looked exactly like her.
The Princess of the Netherlands, I believe. So I guess they start dating.
Or something. You guys, honestly, I don't know. An alien spacecraft lingers in space. There is a press conference where Buckaroo talks about the jet car and he talks about other dimensions.
There's a couple of weirdos in the audience.
There's a call from the president.
What about the Pentagon? The possibility of war in the 8th dimension.
It would have to be a 40-pointed pentagon. Deal in the 8th dimension.
Buck goes to the payphone and bolts of lightning shoot into his head.
That wasn't the president. That was the aliens.
Don't touch him.
He's disgusting. Says, "Oh, I gotta go." Evil! And he sees these guys with these gross alien heads.
Getting shocked makes Buckaroo be able to see aliens.
He doesn't even have to put on special sunglasses.
No.
They are the red Lectroids from Planet 10 in the 8th dimension. You know, I've completely cut out Lectroids from my diet, and I feel great.
And you look great.
Hey, wait a minute, you can't ride that!
I can do anything. I'm Buckaroo Banzai. That's the premise of the movie. I do a bunch of things. A thermal pod is launched from the spaceship, and it goes to Earth, and these hunters get concerned.
They chase it down.
Oh, my soul.
Did he just say, "Oh, my soul"? Did David Lynch have something to do with this? He must have had something to do with it.
He's probably from Mars.
He's a man from Mars. He's come here to eat cars.
And eat guitars and eating bars.
He's gonna shoot us dead and eat our head.
Buckaroo calls for backup.
Somebody shanghaied the professor right from the press conference.
The deuce, you say?
The deuce, you say. Oh, my soul. The deuce, you say. This movie was written by a 90-year-old.
I'm switching on the homing beacon.
I'm switching on the homie beacon so we can communicate in urban slang.
Calling all Blue Blazer regulars in the Garden State.
Blue Blazer Strike Team. Volunteers that are placed all over the United States.
This is Scooter Lindy.
Scooter Libby?
Dad, Buckaroo's in trouble!
Say what?
I only saw him from a distance and for a second, but I think that kid's dad is the guy who played the cop in Clue.
Ha! Buckaroo Banzai!
It's Buckaroo Banzai! Get him!
And he kicked me in my butt. That's right, aliens have the butts on the front side.
Wait a minute, I need to see Buckaroo Banzai in person. My name is John Parker.
Sorry, John, everybody needs to see Buckaroo. Later.
Get back here, I kick you in your boomba clock.
They're back at the Buckaroo Banzai compound trying to figure out exactly what's been going on.
Oh,
A virus to kill the aliens. A computer virus.
Buckaroo and the fellas are contacted by an alien. She is one of the black electroids. They're the good ones. You've interfered with what's been going on and you made it worse. If you don't stop this guy from doing the thing that he's going to do, then we are going to launch a missile.
that's an action at the Kremlin we'll most certainly misinterpret as an American first strike.
Stop! John Wolfen!
Seriously, guys. I'm confused.
She gotta be kidding, right?
That is him. That's the cop from Clue. I called it.
Why is there a watermelon there?
Why not? I mean, really, at this point, why not? The old doctor has the overthruster. He's being chased by the electroids.
Here, put this in your purse.
Next to your tampons. Oh, jump cut. I saw it. I saw you, jump cut. John Parker is one of the black electroids, and he is there to help. Rawhide gets attacked by an alien.
Things pack a mean wallop.
Kiss me, Buckaroo. Kiss me like you used to. Do it. Do it, Buckaroo. I'm not Buckaroo Banzai. Rawhide dies, I think.
Electric brainwashing.
Electric Brainwashing is the name of my electronica band. You are forced to go to the dance floor and dance because we brainwash you. Penny is captured by Lizardo and his cronies. We're going to kill her unless you bring that overthruster. What they don't know is that they already have the overthruster. All they needed to do was look in the purse.
I'm sure in the miserable annals of the earth, you will be duly enshrined.
As electroids. In our eyes, they're not very pretty.
But to each other, they're very sexually arousing.
Understand, monkey boy? Big booty.
Your lovely lady lumps.
What's happening?
We don't know.
Kill the girl!
Take the cannoli!
There are monkey boys in the facility.
You know, when I go into battle with someone who has guns, I tend to wait until I'm about 20 feet away from them. I wave my hands in the air and go, ah! I think that's the best strategy when going into battle.
Buckaroo and John Parker sneak on the ship.
Looks like one of our thermal pods.
One of our thermal farts?
Thermal pods.
All farts are kind of thermal farts. You would never say it. I just farted and it was really cold.
Fasten your seatbelts and extinguish all the smoking material.
And eat the spaghetti.
One more word out of you, big booty! Big booty!
Big booty, slow down. Big booty!
Okay, doke.
The ship takes off. I know you're in here, Buckaroo. He ejects the little pod. Since Buck knows how to do everything, he figures out how to fly the thing.
Start left. Go left. More.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
And he shoots it with a gun, and it blows up. Buck parachutes back to Earth. He's got to go and see Penny because she was tortured by those guys.
It does look as though Penny has been killed.
Penny is gone. I never really knew who she was, and neither did the audience. In their room, they share a kiss, and literally sparks fly.
And she comes back to life. The world and other worlds have been saved. We will.
Wow, that sounds like a great title. We should track down this movie. And they walk around. Movie's over! Hey, Rawhide's alive again. This is the point where the movie says, we don't have to stop being weird when the credits roll.
I want all the Johns to go by now, too. I want Dan Hedaya to walk rhythmically.
Whew! Didn't think I'd get through that one. Buckaroo Banzai, etc., etc. We have watched it, Monkey Boy.
Every single time I watch this movie, even though I have a vague recollection of key plot points, it's like it's the first time I've ever seen the movie.
This is the most incomprehensible movie we've ever watched on this show. We need to start calling it the Buckaroo Banzai Panic. Seriously, I cannot make head or tail of this, and my notes are... This movie is the equivalent of a bunch of big ideas and a bunch of cool things, and they're all thrown into a box, shaken around, and dumped on the floor. That's our movie.
That is what I love about this movie.
I liked it. It entertained the hell out of me, but
it is
completely...
I don't think that the coolness or the creativity of it is the problem. I think the problem is the acting choices of all the Cavaliers are just going to mumble their way through the entire movie. The poor sound mixing of the movie so that you can't hear the mumbling.
How is she, okay?
Sitting, pull it through.
Sitting poster.
And then just crap editing.
Yeah.
This movie was edited straight to hell.
There's so many characters, and we know so little about any of them.
Yes.
Who the hell's Rawhide? He wasn't in the band.
He wasn't?
He would just show up and kind of say facts.
Someone's got to be the sound guy.
There's very little necessary exposition. There's things we need to know that we're not told.
I think this movie did influence a major filmmaker now, one of our favorites, Wes Anderson. If you look at the ending of The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, it's the exact same ending, including the dead character comes out. We're all reunited here at the end of the film.
I think it might have influenced Anderson in that instance, but I don't see a lot of other connections.
Let us know, Wes.
We know you watch the show.
Yeah, you and Steven Soderbergh get together every other Friday to watch.
So I was thinking back when this movie was all over cable, but I actively avoided it. I think I was put off by the title. I just thought, that title just sounds stupid.
It's a title that is daring, and it also dares you to watch the movie.
Well, I have a little fun fact about the movie.
Please.
At the beginning, when he's doing the jet car test, he puts on a headband. Apparently, they made a bunch of those headbands as promotional swag for the movie.
Yeah?
To this day, they are highly sought-after collector's items.
There's so much potential with this, and it just didn't make it. I would love it if they did a do-over. They could get Keanu Reeves, who actually I believe is part Asian.
Keanu Reeves and Peter Weller have a similar vibe to them.
Yeah, that kind of like, we don't need to emote.
We're unflappable.
Yeah. And there's all of these little jokes that if it was done in a way that you could understand it, you'd love it. The whole big booty joke is amazing. Since you have Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd on opposite ends of that thing, and you're like, alright, that is just prime comedy. But they just kind of, again, edit the humor out of it.
It says at the beginning of the movie that he went around the world and studied martial arts. Why didn't we get to see any martial arts? Why would you even bring that up if it's not going to happen?
For the sequel, for when he fights the World Bank.
The World Crime League.
World Crime League. Same thing. We all know that, don't we? It knows itself. It knows what it wants to be. And it refuses to wink at the audience. It still doesn't seem to want us to know. You have to go all this way to meet up with a movie, and when you get there, the gate's closed. So you're just kind of like peering over the wall. It doesn't let you in.
It's a puzzle with no solution. And as you try to figure it out, you know that there's no solution, and so you sort of shut down a little bit. We have returned from the 8th dimension with Buckaroo Banzai. One of our viewers was kind enough to send us this DVD, and we watched it. It is now time for us to enter a dimension known as Seen It.
Seen It.
1984 was a prime cable watching year for me and my youth, and so our theme is the 80s Cable Roundup.
Wee-hoo!
Appropriate for a buckaroo. Dustin Heisey writes, "Seen It, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. One of the best bad movies I've ever seen. It has really awful yellow face and old age makeup on the same character, and an action sequence on the Statue of Liberty. Would recommend as something to point and laugh at. Seen it." The Remo Williams movie has the same problem as Buckaroo Banzai. They called it The Adventure Begins.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of these, folks. I just remember it being rather dull. He's able to run on sand and not make footprints. It's just stupid.
That's good. That comes in handy.
Right.
Tony B. writes, Hey Matt, I just watched Neverending Story. Would love to hear your and Craig's response. Not seen it.
What?
It seems like a big time commitment to watch a movie with that title.
The Neverending Story is a delight, but at the same time, there's a profound sadness to it. It's all about this boy who's traveling through this fantasy land, and he's pursued by something called the Nothing. And all the Nothing does is destroy these fantastical things and creatures. Okay. And I see the whole thing as a metaphor for growing up. We talk about loss of innocence, parents getting a divorce, losing your virginity. But what we don't realize is that for a child, loss of innocence occurs every day. Every day is filled with little heartbreaks. You had someone you thought was your best friend, and then one day they come to school and they say, I don't like you anymore. Just for no reason. And then the next day they come back and act like nothing happened. You're like, oh, I guess sometimes people are just jerks for no reason.
Yeah.
Innocence gone. Or the first time you realize that one of your teachers is an idiot. That was a big one for me.
Or this guy doesn't want to be here. I had a history teacher who would just show us yesterday's 60 Minutes episode. Think about this. Like, oh, yeah, South Africa, apartheid's bad. Oh.
Adulthood takes these little flowers of fantasy, and it just kind of covers them with nothing. If you look at it in a cynical way, and there's a lot of good things about becoming an adult and maturing, but I think that's kind of the main thrust of the story. And so it's very sad.
The Never-Ending Story.
How do you know the song?
It was on MTV. You know what I think happened here? Did you have HBO or the movie channel?
HBO.
I had the movie channel. They didn't share movies.
How do we both get Buckaroo Banzai then?
I don't
So
know.
they must have shared something. Michael Roop, seen it. Beastmaster, seen it.
Have not seen it.
What?
Beastmaster?
Must
have been on HBO too.
This whole HBO movie channel thing, I think it's bunk. Beastmaster was so good. He could control the beasts. He had two little ferrets. They would do his bidding. He had a bird. He could see through the eyes of the bird. He had a big cat. Oh, Beastmaster, man. I could watch that movie 100 times.
You are the Beastmaster master. This one was sent to us by a fan. Jonathan Demi's Something Wild. Seen it.
Something Wild is like a desperately seeking Susan that's really good.
Like really, really good.
The part about it that I like the most is that Jeff Daniels is not a total square. He is very easily pushed into doing wild things.
Yeah.
You know, because you can tell he really wants to. So there's not that
I'm a
resistance.
I've met a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
And she's not a manic pixie dream girl. She's got problems.
She's got big problems.
And she's being followed by one of them. And that guy is a huge problem.
Ray Liotta is so scary in this.
There's a lot of movie directors with great taste in music. You got Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson.
But none of them have the feelies in their movie.
Jonathan Demme knows music, and he knows the musicians. And he's gonna get the feelies to play the band.
I love that.
Just how he closes the movie with that woman singing on the street corner. Wow, that's New York right there.
Sure. Possibly the highlight of the entire movie. We get to see John Waters as a used car salesman. Probably the best cameo role I've seen since Jello Biafra was that border agent in that weird Canadian movie.
Yeah, Highway 61, yeah.
Leave your rocket car at home. You don't need it to go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see our episodes. The entire catalog is there. And there are PayPal donation buttons. You can click on them to donate to support this show if you so desire, a one-time or rolling monthly donation.
Any decent examples of people who have done such things?
Aaron, who writes, watching Welcome to the Basement on YouTube has in part saved me from having to pay for a podcast service or additional streaming TV. Thanks, guys. Hey, Matt. Hey, Aaron. How you doing? Long time no see. Aaron and I are old college buddies.
Hi, Aaron.
And it's Aaron with an E.
Hi, Aaron.
She's a she.
Hi, Aaron.
To find out the rest of our donors and to see the contents of our mail crate, stuff we get sent to us by viewers like you, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. Big boxes. Big booty. He's got the consumption.
Oh, yes, I do.
Buck finally talks to the real president.
Direct incoming transmission.
That's Yakov Smirnov.
Come on, Yakov, say it. Say your catchphrase.
Only in America.
That's not his catchphrase. It's what a country.
No matter where you go,